Thank you. Hello, everyone. Greetings. This is amazing to be, it's an honor to be a part of this gathering. This is a global day of action, and here we are. It's amazing. It's a beautiful group. So, yeah. I bet there aren't a lot of people at this gathering, at this rally, who haven't seen a row of beautiful towering beehive boxes at the edge of a farmer's field, right? Yeah. Those stacks of brood boxes and honey supers that face south, piled neatly on top of each other at the boundary of a farmer's field. Always a treat and a delight to see when we come upon them. Well, here in Alberta, we should actually expect to see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of beehives. Our province produces 40% of all the honey that's produced in Canada, and Canada is the 5th largest honey producer in the world, in the entire world. That's a lot of honey. Nationally, that's 80 million pounds of honey, and Alberta's share of that is 35 million pounds of honey annually. Here in Alberta, 70 to 80% of the honey that's produced is canola honey, and that means GM canola honey. So now let's start making some important connections. The sad reality is that beekeeping, we call it apiculture, AP for bee culture, is inextricably linked with agriculture. It's a link, it's a bond, it's a connection that is wreaking havoc on the precious bees. As was already mentioned, I practice urban beekeeping, and urban beekeeping has a lot in common with rural beekeeping, but there are also a lot of important differences. The hives I tend to don't look out on as far as you can see of mono-cultivated fields of GM canola. GM seeds produced by some of the biggest and most powerful biotech conglomerates. These seeds are coated, pre-treated so that as the plant grows, it repels insects. You may have heard of the term neonicotinoid. Neonicotinoids are a fairly new class of insecticides, and they are used in conjunction with GMOs. Good research is proving that neonicotinoids interfere with bee neurobiology. There's an amazing researcher out of the University of Chicago, whose name I've forgotten, who talks about this in the phenomenal film Queen of the Sun. Neonicotinoids cause bees to not be able to correctly map flight, and therefore not be able to return to their hive, etc., interfering with the bee's ability to make the thousands of foraging trips, thousands on a daily basis, to sources of pollen and nectar and then back to its colony, is absolutely catastrophic for the survival of bees. Bees get lost, they become completely disoriented, and they don't return to their hive, and they die off in numbers that are staggering. When you hear about the term, it's more than a term, colony collapse disorder, these neonicotinoids are a major contributor to this hellish phenomenon. Without the pollination work that honeybees and wild bees do, we would lose a full 1/3 of food we commonly eat. Almonds, apples, a whole variety of squashes, blueberries, cherries, nuts. These foods rely solely, and many of them up to 90%, on active pollination by honey and wild bees. The agrochemical giants like Monsanto, DuPont, Bayer, Syngenta, who produce GM seeds, well, guess what? Genetic modification of a plant leads to concurrent genetic modification of the flower pollen. Flower pollen that becomes genetically modified or sterile means bees could go malnourished or even die due to lack of nutrition. Pollen is the bee's protein, and they need a diverse, safe source of it. Like other possible side effects, the effect of ingesting GMO protein has not been studied. The biotech giants are waging a nasty, deadly war. We already know what some of the consequences are, and we don't want this to continue. So, can anything be done to stop this?
Hell yes!
No kidding. Like the Polish beekeepers, the farmers, and regular citizens who all took to the streets to stand up to Monsanto and Bayer and said no to GM food and the use of neonicotinoids. Like the European Union's recent decision for a 2-year moratorium on neonicotinoids. We need to get out from the might of Frankenstein food growing practices. Organic, sustainable farming that maintains the diversity of ecosystems and preserves the quality of food produced is the only way to fly. Thank you.
Dragonflies and the frogs and all of them are suffering now, and we are the only ones that can save them. So everybody do your part. Buy organic, buy clean food. Save our bees. Woo!